Kendrick say? He a fan, he a fan, he a fan. He a fan, he a fan, he a fan. Freaky. He is 69 God. Freaky. That boy
Turn left onto Hamel Road.
Oh my God. You're not disturbed. Boy, that boy freaky, man. Yo, 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 what's up, people? We is back. We got the freaky man. The freaky, freaky, freaky man in the building.
In a quarter mile, turn left onto Boyd Boulevard.
Yo, why is this doing that? This ain't do this the whole time I was in the house. Now all of a sudden this bitch wanna keep talking. Come on now, y'all. Dumbass shit, man. We got that freaky man. What's up, young? Man, they didn't got the freakster. Indictment released. I ain't even really get into it yet, but we ready to get to the bottom of we is back. God damn, did he do it? Did he didn't? And it got the freaky man. that's his new name, y'all, the freaky man.
Milo's famous sweet tea. 100% natural. 3 simple ingredients. Brewed fresh every day. No wonder taste buds love us. Milo's. Delicious is everything.
And it got the freaky
Breaking
man.
news now. The indictment against Sean Diddy Combs has just been unsealed. Combs is being charged with racketeering conspiracy, alleging he ran an enterprise that he engaged in sex trafficking, forced labor, or kidnapping, arson, and other crimes. He's also charged with sex trafficking by force. I want to bring in ABC's Phil Lipoff, ABC's contributor and Sirius XM radio host Mike Muse, and ABC's legal contributor Brian Buckmeyer for more. Phil, give us the details on this indictment.
So we're just looking through it right now. You hit the highlights, but right off the bat, they go through all of his all of the names that they have to do that in an indictment. They have to name all the names he's ever gone by, and then they talk about he relied on his employees and resources to influence the multifaceted business and what he would do. They allege that there were, among other crimes, sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping. They allege arson, bribery, obstruction of justice. They go on to talk about how he would abuse women. They talk about kicking and punching and dragging and forcing them to have. They talked about highly coordinated sexual acts with male prostitutes. I mean, this is extensive. This seems to be everything that we have heard about. Allegations. I haven't been through the entire thing yet. We're all looking through it. But so far, what I can tell just in the first couple of pages is most of the things they are alleging in this indictment we have heard about.
And Phil, I'm going to give you a chance to go through. I know I put you on the spot there, literally as we got that indictment now. Brian, walk me through legally. We've heard, did he deny these charges, these accusations really throughout? Now they're officially charges. His attorney also before the indictment said that he's an imperfect person, but that he's not a criminal, again denying this. So
in a quarter mile, continue straight onto McGregor Drive.
In black and white, what the government is trying to charge him with.
Man?
Yes, it makes it a lot more interesting as to how to dissect this case. We have 3 charges. We have a racketeering charge, or what we also hear as RICO. The second count being, as Phil articulated, what we all thought might be there, the sex trafficking through force, fraud, or coercion, and then, of course, the transportation of prostitution. Now, those are the first initial charges. There could be more coming down the line.
GPS signal lost.
But this is what we know so far. When it comes to these charges, we're looking at life in prison as a maximum for at least the second count and potentially the first as well. But also when it comes to RICO, how they're describing this enterprise as its way of promoting, enhancing, and protecting the brand. And sex trafficking was a part of it. We're going to see all the ugly and gruesome parts of Bad Boy Entertainment that surround this alleged abuse in a way that I don't think many of us were prepared for.
Ryan, can you talk about the degree to these charges? Because any kind of sexual abuse or sexual assault is bad enough, but it sounds like what they're describing is something that was really premeditated and coordinated.
Yeah, so when you're talking about RICO, you're talking about a criminal enterprise, and criminal enterprises can be anything. Oftentimes you associate RICO with like the mafia or things of that nature, money and violence. This seems to be more in line to, if you want to draw a comparison, to that of R. Kelly, where there was an organization within the music industry that kind of was part and parcel. They interacted with each other in a way that you couldn't see where the music started and the alleged abuse ended.
Biggie, he was signed. Biggie was signed to him.
Of women for the pleasure, for increasing the brand.
Bad Boy Entertainment. How you don't know who Diddy is? The whole world know Diddy.
So you know what? We're going to traffic this girl that he might be interested in a way of attracting and keeping this artist in a way to grow the brand and make money off of it. They are alleging that it is so intertwined that it's almost business as usual to do this trafficking and transporting. And at least that's what I'm reading from the initial allegations in this indictment.
We think of Diddy, we think of the music, but his influence goes far beyond that. How significant is it to have charges of this magnitude against someone who is this powerful?
It's huge. And just got to give context to what
the rise and fall of
Brian is talking about. Diane, is in the conversation that we were just having a few moments ago. What I'm looking at from this unsealed indictment, of course, we need to learn a little bit more, is it seems like Cassie was such a big part of this indictment. A lot of these indictments comes from the lawsuit and allegations that Cassie was actually discussing. In particular, you think about arson. I know people are probably wondering, where's the arson coming from? In Cassie's lawsuit, she alleged that Diddy threatened to blow up a current rapper Kid Cudi's car, to which Kid Cudi's car did blow up in an explosion, to which Kid Cudi then gave a statement and said that he can confirm that actually happened. I'm thinking that's where the reference of the arson comes from. I'm also thinking about the male prostitutes. Cassie alleges that during that time, Diddy would force her to look on the internet to solicit male prostitutes in order to engage in sexual activities. I'm assuming that is where the male prostitute dynamic is coming from. In terms of kidnapping, Cassie
they just hit him with male prostitution, yo. Like, why they throw female? They just hit him with male. God damn.
Alleged in her lawsuit, the forceful nature to which Sean Combs would remove her from events, from social settings, from gatherings, and keep her essentially in housing in order to perform these activities. When it comes to the idea of an enterprise, to kind of translate that to what Brian Buckmeyer just said so eloquently, culturally, what Diddy was. Diddy was the kind of person where if you were in the music industry, you wanted to be around. If you were trying to make your mark as an A&R executive, if you were trying to make your mark in the marketing, if you were trying to make your mark in order to hang out with him,
we gotta find the detail one.
That's how much of a pull.
We gotta find one more detail, man. They live? Let's see what's going on live.
As CEO of Wall Street's largest hedge fund, Dave McCormick bet against American steel. His investment only paid off if the stock price of American steel companies went down. Dave McCormick, you can never trust him.
They probably ready to get Diddy a motherfucking life.
I'm Javi.
They ready to sit Diddy down, man.
Cosmetic. There was a particular photograph, the lines.
If he get a 40 piece, he over.
In the 90s. So I'm not entirely clear.
Oh man, it's too low, man. We gotta go back.
Little Rod Jones lawsuit. He was one of the first people, among other things, obtaining and distributing narcotics to them, controlling their.
That's too low, y'all. We ready to find something else. Find a better one. They waiting to give a press conference. Wait for a press conference, y'all. Dang, they done got the diddly, man. The diddler. Hit that like button. All right, while we waiting on the press conference, we ready to find something else. While we waiting on the press conference. Crime coverage too low. Long Crime don't even want to talk about it. Y'all want to listen to Long Crime while you wait on the press conference?
situation. I will tell you though, it's not like intermediaries, and their conduct was facilitated and assisted by Combs' control of the Combs business. Then it talks about the Combs enterprise. In the background, there's a fire alarm going off. Timing could not be worse, but it is okay. In my hands right now is I'm telling you, the last 10 minutes, unsealed indictment against Sean Combs, and I'm going to read it for you, and I'm going to go through it with you. I am breaking this down in real time. I haven't had a lot of time to really look at this. I'll give you my initial impressions, but remember, the music mogul, artist, producer, he's been arrested out in New York City. Reporting indicates that he was taken to custody last night by federal authorities at the Park Hyatt Hotel. This apparently comes after a grand jury has indicted him, which is not surprising. This is not something that we didn't expect. There was reporting for months that the 54-year-old would be the target of a criminal investigation. And this comes after his homes in Los Angeles and Miami were raided back in March.
Better when it was loud.
With numerous lawsuits alleging sexual assault, sex trafficking, illegal narcotics possession, gun possession. Now, to be clear, we didn't know what the charges would be. We guessed. And it looks like our guess was right, because as Mark Agnifilio, his attorney, said to the press today and last night, they were anticipating racketeering and sex trafficking charges, and that is what we see in this grand jury indictment. It is 14 pages long. There are 3 counts. One that makes up the majority of this indictment is the racketeering enterprise. So let me go through it with you right now. Now, racketeering, and by the way, I will tell you this is similar to what we saw with R. Kelly, who, as we know, was also indicted in federal court in New York. That was the Eastern District of New York. This is the Southern District. He was ultimately sentenced.
I keep turning him down more and more.
30 years in prison. So racketeering, what we are talking about here, is a criminal enterprise and a conspiracy to commit the racketeering.
He turns us back up.
There's a criminal agreement. There's a number of overt acts. There's predicate crimes. So there's things that Diddy is not necessarily being charged with on an individual basis, but they make up this criminal enterprise. In other words, there's evidence that will show this is a criminal enterprise.
If it's an enterprise, then it should be more than him getting locked up.
Again, this is from the Southern District of New York. It says overview, count 1, racketeering conspiracy.
Man, straight up, man. You already know.
Combs, a.k.a. Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, PD,
It is,
he always uses his name throughout this, the different monikers. The defendant
Buggy Bell, the whole gang in here. What it do?
Others around him to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. To do so, Combs relied on the employees, resources, and influence of the multifaceted business empire that he led and controlled, creating a criminal enterprise.
It sounds like they're trying to say he basically used this celebrity or the lure in women. That's what it sounds like, just off the preliminary.
Engaged in and attempted to engage in, among other crimes, sex trafficking, forced labor.
I don't know. We just turned it on.
Bribery and obstruction of justice. A few things here. One, Sean Combs is the only one who's actually listed in this indictment. He's the only named defendant. You have to wonder if anybody else will be cooperating with the government against him. Now, I will let you know, after a brief overview of this, I have not seen the specific names of any other individuals,
what's up, Stacey?
the people who filed lawsuits against him. But what this does indicate is they're trying to establish that there was a criminal enterprise, and it wasn't just him, it was his associates. And he is not being charged, I should say, with federal kidnapping or arson or forced labor, but it is a component of the racketeering case. Let's move on. The defendant operated his business headquartered at various times in Manhattan, so you can see why Manhattan has jurisdiction here.
Yeah, hell yeah, that's why they always do it. It's like conspiracy.
Of United States-based corporate entities, including Bad Boy Entertainment, Combs Enterprises, and Combs Global. Corporate entities in the Combs business included, among other things, record labels, a recording studio, and they go on, the different businesses that he has. At all relevant times in this indictment, Sean Combs, the defendant, engaged in a persistent and pervasive pattern of abuse toward women and other individuals. This abuse was at times verbal, emotional, physical, sexual. As part of this pattern of abuse, Combs manipulated women to participate in highly orchestrated performances of sexual activity with male commercial sex workers. By the way, that is eerily reminiscent of what we heard from the person you see right there, Cassandra Ventura. Remember, she filed a lawsuit against Combs back in
if he'd have just settled with Cassie behind closed doors, he wouldn't have to worry about none of this shit.
Being forced to engage in these kind of perverted sexual activities at the behest of Sean Combs. So this is kind of making this up. You wonder,
Yo, Diddy pride is the reason he in this situation, man.
Combs and others acting in his direction made arrangements for women and commercial sex workers to fly to Combs' location. Combs ensured participation from the women by, among other things, obtaining and distributing narcotics to them, controlling their careers, leveraging his financial support, and threatening to cut off the same and using intimidation and violence. This is, by the way, characteristic of when we talk about sex trafficking, where you are forcing or coercing or threatening someone into commercial sex activities, or you're transporting them across state lines through coercion or different methods for illegal sexual activity. And so let's continue on. Physical abuse by Sean Combs, the defendant, was recurrent and widely known. On numerous occasions from at least in or about 2009 and continuing for years, Combs assaulted women by, among other things, striking, punching, dragging.
They say he found 1,000 bottles of baby oil in his house.
Were at times witnessed by others and included
Fucking 1,000 bottles of baby. What the fuck? That boy freaky.
Los Angeles hotel in or about March 2016, which was captured on video and later publicly reported, where Combs kicked, dragged, and threw a vase at a woman as she was attempting to leave. That is Cassandra Ventura. When a member of the hotel security staff intervened, Combs attempted to bribe the staff member to ensure silence. Combs
but he ain't settled with her until it became public. They've been trying to settle that lawsuit
to get a sense. These allegations
for a while.
Eerily similar to what he was charged with and what he was ultimately convicted with. By the way, we were wondering about whether or not that video, which Combs, remember, he admitted it was him. He went on Instagram and said and apologized for participating in that 2016 video. He didn't deny it. And we were wondering if this would be a part of this criminal indictment, this federal criminal indictment, and clearly it is. Sean Combs, the defendant,
everybody keeps saying that,
including certain employees, to carry out, facilitate, and cover up.
No, they ain't say what the street value was.
You're going to hear that a lot. Commercial sex. Equate that almost with sex trafficking. Those employees, including security staff, household staff, high-ranking supervisors, and other close associates, acted as Combs' intermediaries, and their conduct was facilitated and assisted by control of the Combs business. Then it talks about the Combs enterprise, so this criminal enterprise, from at least in or about 2000.
Yeah, he definitely ready to tell Michael.
Way back to 2008, through or on about
that nigga probably threw up.
Of this indictment, so even to this day, the defendant and others known and unknown were members and associates of a criminal organization. Members and associates of the Combs enterprise engaged in and attempted to engage in, among other things.
Man, you know 50 Ray have a field day, his dumb ass.
Interstate transportation for purposes of prostitution, coercion and enticement to engage in prostitution, narcotics offenses, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. A little bit later, you're going to see that he's also charged specifically with sex trafficking. But as I mentioned, all of these underlying alleged crimes can make up a racketeering case. They are predicate crimes of a criminal enterprise. The Combs enterprise, including its leadership, its members, and its associates, constituted an enterprise. And by the way, let me just take 1 second as I'm reading this. This is also eerily similar to the Little Rod Jones lawsuit. He was one of the first people to file a lawsuit, former producer of Sean Combs. He alleged violations of racketeering law. So he was the one who made those allegations, and again, very consistent with what we are hearing here. And again, constituted an enterprise as defined under the United States Code, and this is a group of individuals associated in fact, although not a legal entity. So you can have a criminal enterprise. It doesn't have to be Sean Combs, Inc. If you have a bunch of people, they don't have to be incorporated. It can still be a criminal enterprise. The Combs enterprise consisted of the defendant entities within the Combs business, including but not limited to Bad Boy Entertainment, Combs Enterprises, and then they go through a number of different entities and people known and unknown. The Combs enterprise constituted an ongoing organization whose members functioned as a continuing unit for a common purpose of achieving the objectives of the Combs enterprise. The Combs enterprise was engaged in, and its activities affected interstate and foreign commerce. It operated in the Southern District of New York and elsewhere. A couple of things there. So now you see why this is being brought to the Southern District of New York, why they have jurisdiction. When you talk about common purpose, if you have been following us here on Law and Crime, and you have been following the Young Thug trial, a racketeering case, that is the number one theme. The prosecutors in that case have been trying to establish that all of these underlying crimes were for the common purpose of furthering that gang. Here, there is a common purpose of furthering the Combs enterprise. At all times relevant to this indictment, Sean Combs, the defendant, was the leader of the Combs enterprise. Sean Combs, the defendant, and others known and unknown, participated in unlawful and other activities related to the conduct of the Combs enterprise's affairs. These individuals included certain Combs business employees, such as members of Combs security staff, household staff, personal assistants, high-ranking supervisors, as well as other close associates of Combs. Now, we don't know if that's from digital evidence that they obtained. We don't know if those people around him are cooperating with the government, or we do not know whether alleged victims of Combs have, this is their perspective of who's been involved. Okay, purposes of the Combs enterprise. The purpose of the Combs enterprise included the following. A, operating a global business in the media, entertainment, and lifestyle industries, and talks about record labels, recording studio, alcohol, spirits business. B, preserving, protecting, promoting, and enhancing the power, reputation, and brand of Sean Combs, the defendant, as a musician, entrepreneur, and figure in the entertainment industry. Enriching members and associates of the enterprise, including its leader, Combs.
Hey, Brandon, if they do that, you already know what it is.
Loyalty to Combs and willingness to conceal his crimes. Preserving, protecting, promoting, and enhancing the power of the Combs enterprise, including the power of its leader, Combs, through violence, use of firearms, threats of violence, coercion, verbal, emotional, physical, and sexual abuse. I know I say this a lot, but I'm just going to say it one more time. This is all consistent with what has been alleged in the multiple lawsuits that he has currently been facing, whether it is Cassandra Ventura, whether it's Joy Dickerson-Neal, whether it's Jane Doe.
I don't think they're going to give him a deal.
Rodney Jones. So again, this is not entirely out of left field with what has been asserted.
Y'all want to go to the press conference?
Another purpose of the enterprise, fulfilling the personal desires of Combs, particularly those related to Combs.
Let's see if the press conference started yet.
Safety on our streets
Oh,
and
that's the same
justice
thing.
in our courtrooms are under attack.
Not this. This right here. The Kobe Ray Bear press conference. Oh, no, I ain't start yet. Yo, somebody Google what time the press conference supposed to start.
Forced labor, and 4, during search, we wonder if that was what they obtained, obstruction of justice, right? Okay. Now, the means and methods of the enterprise. How did they do this? It says among the means and methods by Sean Combs, the defendant, and other members.
Thanks, Courtney.
Conducted participation in the conduct of the affairs of the Combs enterprise. And there's a lot here. I'm not going to go through everything, but it basically says, one example, Combs and other members of the associates wielded the power and prestige of Combs' role at the Combs business to intimidate,
I don't think they're going to give him no deal.
And lure female victims into Combs' orbit, often under the pretense of a romantic relationship. Combs then used force, threats of force, coercion, to cause victims to engage in extended sex acts with male commercial sex workers. This is where they talk about the freak-offs.
Yo, that's crazy, yo.
They go into a little bit more detail about the freak-offs. During freak-offs, Combs distributed a variety of controlled substances to victims, in part to keep the victims obedient and compliant. Sometimes unbeknownst to the victims, Combs kept videos he filmed of victims engaging in sex acts with commercial sex workers. Makes me wonder if that was what they obtained in those raids. Goes on, members and associates of Combs Enterprise facilitated the freak-offs by booking hotel rooms for the freak-offs, stocking the hotel rooms in advance with the required freak-off supplies, including controlled substances, baby oil, lubricant, extra linens, lighting, cleaning the hotel rooms after the freak-offs to try to mitigate room damage.
And these freak-offs must got wild. Hey, yo, hold up, yo. Yo, why do you need all that shit for the freak-offs, man?
Organization here, an organized, engaging in sex acts with commercial sex.
Hey, listen to it.
Makes me wonder if that was what they obtained in those raids. Goes on, members and associates of Combs Enterprise facilitated the freak-offs by booking hotel rooms for the freak-offs, stocking the hotel rooms in advance with the required freak-off supplies, including controlled substances.
Nah, Billy, that's what he called them.
Oil, lubricant, extra linens, lighting, cleaning the hotel rooms after the freak-offs to try to mitigate room damage, arranging for travel for victims, commercial sex workers, and Combs. So honestly, you're talking about an organization here, an organized effort to facilitate these alleged crimes. Combs subjected victims to physical, emotional, and verbal abuse to cause the victims to engage in freak-offs. He maintained control over his victims. And again, there's a lot more here where they talk about this. This one. So this was important too, because we knew that there were allegations of alleged illegal firearms possession. Members and associates of the Combs enterprise, including Combs security personnel, at times carried firearms. On more than one occasion, Combs himself carried or brandished firearms to intimidate and threaten others, including victims of and witnesses to his abuse. In or about March 2024, during searches of Combs' residence in Miami, Florida. Is this fire alarm that important? Come on, guys. I'm going over the Combs indictment here. I think we're fine. But anyway, it says in or about March 2024, during searches of Combs' residence in Miami, Florida, and Los Angeles, California, law enforcement seized firearms and ammunition, including 3 AR-15s with defaced serial numbers, as well as a drum magazine. Now,
damn.
if you have been
What the fuck is Puffy? What the fuck is Puffy doing with illegal firearms? Like, yo, this dude crazy, man. You know the only reason you scratch off the serial number if you don't want the gun to be traced, which means, you know, in their terms, you're gonna do some dirt with it.
You know that is now one of the charges facing the second potential attempted assassination of Donald Trump. Ryan Ralph, in that case, has been charged with the federal crime of possessing a firearm that had the obliterated serial numbers. So, again, while Sean Combs isn't charged with this directly, it is part of the underlying criminal conspiracy, the racketeering case. I'm going to go a little bit more forward here. So he talks a little bit more employees, witnesses to his abuse, or others threatened Combs' authority or reputation, basically how he wielded power and influence to get people to do what he wants. Now, this is the section that talks about the racketeering.
I'm going to have a whole indictment tonight.
From at least in or about 2008 through on or about the date of the filing of this indictment in the Southern District of New York and elsewhere, the defendant and others, known and unknown, being persons employed by and associated with the Combs enterprises. This is more of a legal definition about what racketeering is. It basically says that's enterprise they engaged in, and the activities affected interstate and foreign commerce, and knowingly combined, conspired, confederated, and agreed together, you need that agreement, and with each other to violate the racketeering laws of the United States. So there needs to be an agreement to violate the law, and that was to conduct and participate directly and indirectly in the conduct of the affairs of the Combs enterprises through a pattern of racketeering activity. And it consists of, and this is where they have multiple different examples of the crime. So multiple acts involving kidnapping, trying to the following provisions of state law, multiple acts involving arson, multiple acts indicted under Title 18 relating to tampering with a witness, multiple acts of forced labor, multiple acts related to sex trafficking. So these are all these.
Diddy probably facing 1,000 years.
That I talked about when you're trying to prove racketeering. The same thing was charged in the R. Kelly case. You recall with racketeering, he was charged with respect to underlying crimes of forced labor and things of that nature. So again, very similar. In terms of drug offenses, multiple offenses here involving the possession with intent to distribute or distribution of narcotics.
What?
They go through a list of them, including meth. It was a part of the conspiracy.
They're selling drugs?
Combs agreed with a conspirator to commit at least 2 acts of racketeering activity. You need at least 2 acts within the course of a 10-year span to ultimately be found guilty of racketeering. And this is a special section. Notice of special sentencing factor. From at least in or about 2009 up to and including in or about 2018 in the Southern District of New York and elsewhere, as part of his agreement to conduct and participate in the conduct of the affairs of the Combs enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activity, the defendant agreed to, in and affecting interstate and foreign commerce, knowingly recruit, entice, harbor, transport, provide, obtain, and advertise, maintain, patronize, and solicit by any means a person knowing and in reckless disregard of the fact that means of force, threats of force, fraud, and coercion. This is described in specific code.
That nigga got some hella charges.
Combination of such means would be used to cause a person to engage in a commercial sex act. So it's kind of a sex trafficking allegation there. And I believe, and I don't want to misstate here, and I'm going to look it up real quickly, I believe that this is actually a violation that could carry 20 years in prison. I'm just confirming it right now. This is the racketeering conspiracy. I'll get back to that and double check it. But that was all. Everything I just went through was count 1 in the indictment. Count 1. So now here is count 2.
Man, count 6.
Sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, victim 1. Now, we don't know who victim 1 is. That person has not been identified. But it says, from at least in or about 2009 up into and including in or about 2018, in the Southern District of New York, the defendant in and affecting interstate and foreign commerce. It goes through the definition of what sex trafficking is, by means of force, threats of force, fraud, coercion, as described in the U.S. Code. Any combination would be used to cause the person to engage in a commercial sex act, and attempted, aided, and abetted, and willfully caused the same person, Combs recruited, enticed, harbored, transported, and maintained a person, and attempted, aided, and abetted, and willfully caused victim 1 to engage in commercial sex acts. So again, we do not know who this person is. We can take guesses as who they are, but you have to go through a number of these lawsuits. By the way, assuming that one of these
it says 1,000 barrels of baby oil.
Someone else, we don't know. Count 3, transportation to engage in prostitution. It's also another kind of sex trafficking charge. From at least in or about 2009 up into and including in or about 2004, the defendant knowingly transported an individual in interstate and foreign commerce with intent that the individual engage in prostitution, and attempted, aided, and abetted, and willfully caused the same to wit, Combs transported, aided, abetted, and willfully caused the transportation of female
wild
victims
charges.
and commercial sex workers in interstate and foreign commerce on multiple occasions with the intent that they engage in prostitution. So again, that's a separate crime. I want to double check these, but I believe these could carry 10 years in prison. And then finally, so those are the 3 counts in the indictment. You have these 2 sex trafficking related charges, and then you have the racketeering charge. And then finally, it ends with the forfeiture allegations. You see this a lot in criminal indictments. It's basically suggesting that if you lose this case, if you are convicted, you will have to forfeit over personal property over to the government. As a result of committing the offense alleged in count 1 of this indictment, the defendant shall forfeit to the United States any and all interest the defendant acquired or maintained in violation of the U.S. Code, any and all interest in, securities of, claims against, contract rights, and it goes on.
Damn.
All sorts of influence over the enterprise named and described herein. So basically,
They
if you profited,
they ready to take all his shit.
You will have to disgorge those profits, which is very interesting because they are talking about him engaging in an enterprise that made money, that was involved in the music and entertainment industry.
Yeah, they ready to take all his stuff, man.
And different possession as well. Now it says, as a result of committing the offense alleged in count 2 of this indictment, the defendant shall forfeit to the United States.
No, because they relating it to his music company. That's how they gonna forfeit all this stuff. They relating it to the music company. You know, the music company brought in the money, which ultimately led into all these other activities.
Pretty much it. You have a couple more provisions, but that's a good synopsis of what you're seeing in this indictment right here. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to
definitely pissing people off.
Here on Long Crime. Stay with us.
You know, this ain't happening until this didn't happen until he got that lawsuit with Ciroc. This is all of this is a domino effect from that. The lawsuit with Ciroc. He pissed some people off. You know, he tried to say they was let me show y'all what Diddy's lawsuit with Ciroc was about. Diddy's lawsuit with Ciroc. Not restaurant. Come on now. So let me show y'all what that was about for people that don't know. And he accused them. Oh, here go the lawyer right here. Hold up, the lawyer spoke.
Let's get real. It's hard to live up to that mug. Sometimes you don't check the traffic report. Or the...
Hang on, Karen. This is the lawyer. Let's listen. Get out. Wow. Me, I'll share it with the press, and I won't be behind the curtain. Did you speak to Mr. Combs? I speak to him all the time. What's his reaction? We knew this was coming. I mean, he moved to New York, as I think some of you guys know. We brought him to New York about 2 weeks ago because we knew this day was going to come, and it's here.
Did he expect it to occur happen last night? Was that planned?
No, it's not planned. Certainly, it's not planned by us. I mean, he came here to surrender at a time agreeable to the U.S. Attorney's Office, and then they arrested him last night. I spent the evening with him. I was with him till about 1 o'clock. His spirits are good. He's confident. He is dealing with this head on, the way he's dealt with every challenge.
I don't know, drastic.
And he's not guilty. He's innocent of these charges. We know what the charges are going to be without seeing the indictment. It's going to be racketeering. It's going to be sex trafficking. It's going to be things along those lines. This is what we've been expecting since the searches in March. He, to his great credit, he voluntarily came to New York. Not a lot of defendants do that. He came to New York to basically engage the court system and start the case, and it'll start today. And he's going to plead not guilty, obviously. He's going to fight this with all of his energy and all of his might and the full confidence of his lawyers. And I expect a long battle with a good result for Mr. Combs.
So he'll be released?
I'm going to fight like hell to get him released.
He should have got wife and Lucci lawyer.
All that he's done and coming here voluntarily. And guys, I'm going to cut it short because I have to go in. All right? So thank you all very much, and I'll keep you all posted.
Combs this morning?
Not this morning. I'm going to see him now. I was with him till 1 o'clock. So.
Is he in court already?
I don't know. That's one of the things I'm going to go see. But I'm going to run, you guys. Thank you. Thanks a lot. All right, fellas. Bye, everybody. Yeah, I'll be around.
That is attorney Mark Agnifilo, happening right behind our Cara Scannell right here. And we learned a number of new things. Number one, Diddy's going to plead not guilty. Number two, they expect the charges to be racketeering and sex trafficking. And three, as you've been reporting all morning long, he's leaning to the fact that Diddy came voluntarily to New York, he claims, a few years ago.
Yeah, I know he got the best.
A few weeks ago, I should say, because they believed this was about to happen, Kara.
You probably get that man 20 million hours.
Right, John, that's right. I mean, this investigation really entered a new stage last spring when Diddy's homes were searched by Homeland Security investigators. Those homes in Los Angeles and in Miami, they seized his electronic devices. And a lot of the women in their civil lawsuits had alleged that they were filmed doing these sex acts. So that is all evidence that the prosecution has been looking for, and it is possible that they have recovered some of that. But we will learn more details of that once this indictment is unsealed. And as you said, Diddy's attorney, Mark Agnifilo, saying that he expects this to be racketeering and sex trafficking. And he also said that he is going to try to get Diddy released today. That is the one question that is unknown at this point, of whether prosecutors are going to seek to detain him. Other individuals charged with sex trafficking have been detained. Big question is, will Diddy walk out these doors behind me later today?
Wix gives you the power.
All right, so let me find that lawsuit, because I think this is where it's all stemming from. Oh, I can't find it.
And a design tailored just for you.
Diddy sues liquor company. Ah, shoes. What the fuck? I hate this thing. Alright, here you go, right here. I think this is where it all stemmed from, y'all. It could be. You never know, Me Too.
Co-owner in the battle over racism. This is worth billions of dollars. Now, Diddy filed a lawsuit against the alcohol company Diego, accusing his longtime business partner of racism. Now, Diddy is taking his affairs to court, going after the company Diego for mishandling his Ciroc vodka and De Leon tequila brands. Now, Diddy accused Diego of racism in a lawsuit filed just on Wednesday, May the 31st. Now, the Bad Boys record exec claimed that the company neglected his liquors in favor of brands backed by white celebrities, such as George Clooney, right? Now, rather than equal treatment, Combs is saying that Diego treated Mr. Combs and his brands worse because, you know, he is black. Now, Diddy's lawyers argue, right, per The Guardian, that Diego had typecast, Ciroc and DeLeon apparently decided they are black brands that should be targeted only to urban consumers. Now, Diddy said Diego failed to provide enough financial support to his brands. He sought a court order to secure equal treatment from the company. He also intended to file a separate lawsuit in search of billions of dollars in damages, right? Now, and here's a quote, right? Cloaking itself in a language of diversity and equality is good for Diego's businesses, but it's a lie, Diddy's lawyers contended, per the Associated Press. Now, while Diego may conspicuously include images of black partners in advertising materials and press releases, right? It's only words only provide the illusion, right? It only provides the illusion of inclusion. This is per Diddy's counsel. Now, Diego denied Diddy's allegations. The company downplayed the lawsuit, calling it a business dispute. They went on to say, Diego Company, right? We are saddened that Mr. Combs has chosen to recast this matter as anything other than that. While we respect Mr. Combs as an artist and an entrepreneur, his allegations lack merit, and we are confident that the facts will show that he has been treated fairly. Now, Diddy began working with this company, if you guys can remember, back in 2007, becoming the face of Ciroc. He partnered with Diego to buy DeLeon back in 2014. And yeah, you know,
this is what happened when you do business with dirty people, man.
I mean, Diddy, I will argue to say him and Jay-Z, I would even say Diddy, you know, honestly, you know, is probably one of the biggest black celebrities ever to promote liquor, right? And to do it on a mass scale. Him and Jay-Z is like neck and neck. But I mean, that Ciroc is a household name now. Like,
fuck is he promoting liquor anyway? Killing all these motherfucking people. See, that's why I don't be respecting these guys, man. Why you want to put your face? You want to put your face on the liquor. Whole time he had everybody drinking Ciroc, and all he was the face. Dirty motherfucker. That's why I don't give a fuck about what's happening to him, man.
He was doing the same thing with the DeLeon, you know, tequila brand, and then he had the other Ciroc. You know, I think it's a VSOP or something like that. I think he mixed a little brandy cognac. Something he had going. I was trying to get my hands on. I couldn't get my hands on it. You know, so hey, you know, I don't see Diddy doing this type of lawsuit if there wasn't something there. He's pretty much saying, look, you're only trying to, you know, target black consumers, right? When he wants this brand to be a global brand. And honestly, I don't know, like, the demographics.
See, my thing is, you know that when you put your face on it. You understand what I'm saying? Diddy knew that when he put his face on it. Why else would they want your face on their product? That's why I don't be respecting these dudes. They sellouts. It's sellouts, man.
Buy Ciroc, but I would go out on a limb and say, from my own observation, that I see all types of people drinking Ciroc. You know, but again, I'm not, you know, privy to the numbers of the, you know, the consumers, the demographics that's buying his product. I'm not privy to that.
You'll say you that old either. I remember everybody was drinking Ciroc.
Situation. But hey, if he's taking this to court, you know, following, you know, along the lines of what Jay-Z did against the company he was partnered up with, hey, man, I support him on it.
I appreciate it.
I support him, you know, 100%. I hope that if there's any wrong that is done, that he, you know, is given just compensation. You know, it ain't the first time we see something like this, right?
That's probably why they felt so disrespected. It's like, yo, all you is the face any motherfucking way. You feel me? You ain't really got no real money tied into this shit like that. So then you gonna try to come down. I think that, man, they probably took it as disrespect. And then with the allegations that he placed on them, they probably like, man, all right, we got something for you. All this fuck shit you've been doing for all these decades. We ready to dig up all them skeletons.
You know, say because it happened in other aspects of life that it happened here. I'm gonna wait for the facts to come out, but I would not be surprised, you know, if what he's saying is 100% dead on balls accurate. I wouldn't be surprised. I just wouldn't be. I mean, and I'm not surprised at anything that happens in America at this point. I'm just not. So we'll definitely, keep everyone updated. We do have this story on hiphopun.com. If you want to get a little bit more of this story, click the top.
Yeah, but I don't respect none of them people that put their name on alcohol. Yo, alcohol is fucking deadly. Shoot. I mean, I don't respect any person that'll put their face on that shit, man, because you know what you're doing. They're using you to sell a product. They're using your face, your influence, your fan base to sell a product. And who was Diddy fan base? I don't respect it. I don't respect it. All these people do is use. They look at everybody like dollar signs. I mean, they use the consumer. They use the people, and they don't even look at us like real people. They just look at us like money. You feel me? So whatever I gotta do to trick these people into spending their money, that's what I'm gonna do. That's why when things like this happen to these type people, y'all don't even. So what? You wasn't never for the people anyway. I mean, you wasn't never for the people anyway. And most of them, it's messed up that it's like this, yo. But in order to reach that level of success, you gotta sell everybody else out. You got to. That's the only way you're gonna get there. Just like I say, when you see them police with them detective shows, they was dirty cops. Like, yo, that's the world we living in, yo. In order to come up, yo, you gotta play dirty. You gotta play dirty. Like, it's hard. Y'all see how I be operating on YouTube. It's hard to move up, yo, and carry yourself with integrity at the same time, yo. Like, it's like moving up and integrity don't mix. I mean, you gotta really be low down, dirty, cutthroat, grimy, in order to reach the next level, yo. But that's still with choice. You feel me? A lot of these people are falling victim to greed, man. Greed is what's taking them down. That's what it is. Greed is what's taking them down, man. But what he did with Biggie was dirty. Why would you tell Biggie to go over there right after Tupac got killed? Like, yo, none of that makes sense to me. None of that made sense. Right after Pac got killed, you gonna get Biggie to go to Las Vegas, y'all? I mean, go to California. Like, how much sense did that make? Oh, where we at? I ain't got the thing in the history. Hold on. We ready to go to the press conference. Press conference should be ready to start soon. Yo, make sure I hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, man. See, press conference started 11:30. We got a couple more minutes. 14,000 people watching the press conference.
Milo's famous sweet tea. 100% natural, 3 simple ingredients.
Man, they been in Cali. They wasn't from Cali, Con. There's them boys from New York. They ain't no business in Cali. Now that the Pac got killed, that was a bad move. That was a bad move. Like, I'm not marketing poison to the people, man. I mean, anybody that'll market poison to the people is a person that completely sold out. They completely sided with the elites. They brought and paid for. Because you know what you're doing, y'all. I mean, you know what you're doing. A lot of these people that be marketing them type of brands, they don't even drink. Like, how you gonna market something you don't need to do? Now, I ain't saying that's Diddy. You know, Diddy was saying like a heavy drug user. But you got people that'll do that. Yeah, you're right though, Ross. You're right. Seem like they got their picks though. That's true. That mean you gotta manipulate them every chance you get and rape them and keep them broke. That's how you keep them broke. All you want to do is sell them products. You don't want to give them no information to grow. You don't want to give them no knowledge. You just want to sell them products. Man, I don't fuck with that. That's the thing, yo. Everybody, like, that's the shit we always be talking about. Everybody want to market and monetize off the ignorant. That's what everybody want to do. Everybody want to promote to the ignorant. Nobody wants to tend to the intelligent. Nobody wants to, you understand? Like, I don't really be, man, I don't care, man. When you side with dirty people, you're prepared to get dirty. That's just what it is. He knew what it was when he started working with these people, whenever year it started. How many more times do you guys see this to know that, yo, this is the end result? when you play in that game, you get too comfortable, they make an example out of you. And that's what this is. They making an example out of you. You got too comfortable. You thought you was in. Thought you was in, didn't you? Man, I don't know. That was a bad move, man. He went up against them motherfucking people, man. Thought he was just as big. Whole time all you is Diddy. We're a whole corporation. We got billions behind us. Now he learning the hard way. And people going off. Learning the hard way. Yeah, but I refuse to go that route though, y'all. But that's what we always talk about, man. In order to come up in this type of space, entertainment or news, they want you to be dirty, man. They want you to be dirty, man. They gotta know that if I need something pushed, you would do it. Regardless of what it is. It don't gotta be in the best interest of you. It don't gotta be in the best interest of the people. It gotta be in the best interest of the business. And if I see that you're a person that would do that, man, shit, come on board. You know what I mean? But what they fail to realize is you're not a partner. You just a pawn. You just the person they using to get to the people. You're what you call it? What the fuck is this? Hold up, y'all. Yeah, you just a pawn, man. Exactly. Just trying to be great. No, they ain't. Yo, this shit, man, it's a dirty game, man. It's a dirty game. This the Associated Press. We got like another 6 minutes. Hopefully they be on time. Let me go upstairs and get my juice real quick. They got the little thing up. They must gonna show some pictures. They got this up here. They ready to make a whole show out of this. You know they ready grandstand.
Everybody need me to keep going. Is everybody set in the back?
No, they ready grandstand.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6. You just came in from the left. Are you okay? Okay. Thank you.
Make sure I hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, man. Exactly, Steven. And ain't nobody rich.
Apply for disability benefits. Don't.
That's another thing.
I'm Sarah, and I'm a lawyer.
Ain't nobody get rich because of Diddy.
Applying as soon as you're unable to work.
Who Diddy got rich? Diddy been in the industry for 30 years, and he ain't made not one person rich. Man, fuck Diddy. All he been doing was milking motherfuckers his whole career. They got pictures of AK-47s up there. AR-15s. United States versus Sean Combs. I told you they was going grandstand. That's crazy, y'all. Who'd ever thought you'd have seen that? United States versus Sean Combs.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. We're going to start the Sean Combs press conference in about 2 minutes. If you have any questions about presentment, I'll come back out and we'll go over timing. And
that's crazy, y'all. That is crazy. United States versus Sean Combs, y'all. Never in a million years you thought that'd be a headline. AR-15s with abbreviated serial numbers. Y'all think they're gonna go into detail? That looks like a shotgun right there. He got a drum. That's a drum right there. That's a 50-round drum. Diddy crashed out. They say they found 5 illegal firearms, 3 of them with AR-15. And they all had the serial number scratched off. Which means they was illegal. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have the whole case by 11 o'clock tonight. Y'all know we go live every day at 11 o'clock Eastern Time. PM. I'm gonna have the whole case by tonight. Yeah.
Morning, everyone. My name is Damian Williams, and I'm the U.S. Attorney here in the Southern District of New York. Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution. The indictment alleges that between at least 2008 and the present, Combs abused, threatened, and coerced victims to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. As alleged in the indictment, to carry out this conduct, Sean Combs led and participated in a racketeering conspiracy that used the business empire he controlled to carry out criminal activity, including sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and the obstruction of justice.
Dang, what the obstruction of
Let me say
justice
a little bit more about the charges. The indictment alleges that Combs abused and exploited women and other people for years, and in a variety of ways. As alleged, Combs used force, threats of force, and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended sexual performances with male commercial sex workers, some of whom he transported or caused to be transported over state lines.
Okay.
Combs allegedly planned and controlled the sex performances, which he called freak-offs, and he often electronically recorded them. The freak-offs sometimes lasted days at a time, involved multiple commercial sex workers, and often involved a variety of narcotics, such as ketamine, ecstasy, and GHB, which Combs distributed to the victims to keep them obedient and compliant. As alleged, when Combs didn't get his way, he was violent, and he subjected victims to physical, emotional, and verbal abuse so that they would participate in the freak-offs, and that Combs hit, kicked, threw objects at, and dragged victims, at times by their hair.
That's crazy.
On one occasion in March of 2016, that conduct was captured on video and later reported in the media. Specifically, Combs kicked, dragged, and threw a vase at a victim in a Los Angeles hotel when the victim was attempting to flee. As alleged, these assaults often resulted in injuries to the victims, which took days or weeks to heal. In addition to the violence, the indictment alleges that Combs threatened and coerced victims to get them to participate in the freak-offs. He used the embarrassing and sensitive recordings he made of the freak-offs as collateral against the victims.
Damn.
And the indictment alleges that he maintained control over the victims in several ways, including by giving them drugs, by giving and threatening to take away financial support or housing, by promising them career opportunities, by monitoring their whereabouts, and even by dictating their physical appearance. Because of all of this, the indictment alleges that the victims did not believe they could refuse Combs without risking their security or facing more abuse. The indictment also alleges other acts of violence undertaken by Combs and others, including violence against witnesses to his abuse, kidnapping, and arson. The indictment alleges that on more than one occasion, Combs carried or brandished firearms to intimidate and threaten victims and witnesses. Now, Combs did not do this all on his own. As I mentioned, Combs has been charged with RICO conspiracy. He used his business and employees of that business and other close associates to get his way. Those individuals allegedly included high-ranking supervisors in the business, personal assistants, security staff, and household staff. The indictment alleges that those individuals facilitated the freak-offs. They booked the hotel rooms and stocked them with the supplies,
I don't know,
including drugs, baby oil, personal lubricant, extra linens, and lighting. When the hotel rooms got damaged, they helped clean it up. They arranged for victims and commercial sex workers to travel for the freak-offs, and they delivered large quantities of cash to Combs to pay for the commercial sex workers. The indictment also alleges that they helped Combs cover up his crimes. During the March 2016 incident at the LA hotel that I mentioned earlier, a member of the hotel security staff intervened, and Combs attempted to bribe the staff member with a stack of cash to make sure that what happened was kept quiet. And as the indictment alleges, in late 2023, after public allegations were made about Combs' crimes, he and others pressured witnesses and victims to stay silent, including by making phone calls to witnesses and victims and giving them a false narrative of what they had experienced. And as alleged, Combs used others to help conceal his abuse by monitoring and preventing victims from leaving a location in order to hide their injuries, or by locating and contacting a victim who had attempted to flee. As part of this investigation, in March of this year, special agents from HSI executed search warrants at Combs' residences in Miami and Los Angeles. They also executed a warrant for Combs' electronic devices. During those searches, agents seized evidence of the crimes charged in this indictment.
Dang.
They seized firearms and ammunition, including 3 defaced AR-15s and a large capacity drum magazine. They also seized evidence of the freak-offs, electronic devices that contain images and videos of the freak-offs with multiple victims. And they seized cases and cases of the kinds of personal lubricant and baby oil that Combs' staff allegedly used to stock hotel rooms for the freak-offs, more than 1,000 bottles altogether.
What the fuck, yo?
Here are some of the items that we recovered during the searches.
Yo, this man got a fucking lifetime supply of baby oil.
As you can see here, this is a drum magazine, large capacity. And it contains, I believe, 59 rounds. I mentioned as well, we recovered 3 AR-15s.
Yeah.
This is a close-up shot of one of the AR-15s, and you can see right here, the serial number has been thoroughly defaced. Another picture of more ammunition and parts of 2 AR-15s right there. Now, I want to be clear about 2 things. First, this office is determined to investigate and prosecute anyone who engages in sex trafficking, no matter how powerful or wealthy or famous you may be. No one shipped out our commitment on that. A year ago, Sean Combs stood in Times Square and was handed a key to New York City. Today, he's been indicted and will face justice in the Southern District of New York. Second, we are not done. This investigation is ongoing, and I encourage anyone with information about this case to come forward and to do it quickly.
Damn.
Anyone with information can call 1-877-4HSI-TIP. I want to express my deep appreciation for the victims and witnesses who have used their voices and helped bring this criminal conduct to light. We would not be here without them. I also want to thank the dedicated case agents on the HSI Trafficking in Person Squad in New York.
I'm going to tell you why,
V. They have been with us since day one and have worked tirelessly on this investigation. They will continue to be invaluable partners to us. I also want to thank the incredible agents and analysts from SCNY who have also provided tremendous assistance on this case. I'm deeply grateful for their continued work. And finally, I want to thank the outstanding career prosecutors from SCNY who are handling this case. Meredith Foster, Emily Johnson, Lucy Slavic, Madison Smeisler, and Missy Steiner, and their supervisors, Jamie Backleeper and Jacqueline Kelly. They are members of the Civil Rights Unit in our criminal division. We created the Civil Rights Unit when I became U.S. Attorney. I'm deeply proud of their work on this and so many other cases. I'll now take some questions. Eric Katursky, ABC.
Damien, thanks. The indictment describes aggressive, open, violent, hedonistic abuse that you say was recurrent and widely known. Why did it take law enforcement so long to intervene. How many women were victimized by Sean Combs, and how many others were involved?
Look, our investigation is ongoing. We are committed to bringing justice to everyone who's been victimized by the defendant. I can't tell you why it took so long. I think the better focus is on the fact that we are here today. And we are committed to making sure that justice is done. Next question.
Julia Ainsley, NBC.
Thank you for doing this. You said we are not done and that Combs did not do this alone. Do you foresee that there could be other charges related to this case?
I'm not taking anything off the table.
Janet Fisher, News.
Hey, yo, I know what they ready
What's
to
the
do.
difference between the sex trafficking and promoting travel for the purpose of prostitution?
Well, there are different crimes with different elements. I don't think we should get into the nitty-gritty of the legal discussion right now, but the sex trafficking, we believe, they're all serious offenses, but the sex trafficking conduct carries some significant penalties, and we are gratified that we were able to bring that charge.
One more coercive than the other?
I'm not going to be able to get into that, but you can look it up, and yes, sex trafficking, especially when it involves coercion or force, is a very serious crime, and it carries significant penalties.
Good afternoon, Darla Miles, ABC7 New York. Thank you for this press conference and for the details. 2 questions. In context of this indictment and the information that was presented to the grand jury, are you able to clarify the number of victims? It's mentioned plural in the indictment, but can you specify the number of victims just for this particular indictment? And secondly, can you provide details about the alleged arson?
Unfortunately, I'm not able to provide either. The number of victims, you are correct. We are intentional in saying multiple. The details of the arson incident are limited to what we have in the indictment and also the detention letter that we filed, which contains more details than the indictment does at various points, but we don't have anything more beyond that. Next question.
Lynn Tran, CNN.
Are any of his accomplices or associates under investigation? And additionally, could he face any more charges?
So the investigation is ongoing. That means both as to him and to anyone else who we believe committed the crime with him. Next question.
Juliette Papa.
Hi, good morning from 1010 Wins. Any indication that some of the women or victims here were imprisoned in his residences, and did he have locations where he kept them, and they were not allowed to leave? And also, he's indicted here, although there were searches and raids in LA, Miami. Why in New York?
Well, I'm biased. I'm the U.S. Attorney in the Southern District of New York. I think that we have an outstanding track record of bringing some of the most impactful,
Southern District of New York don't play no games, man.
Difficult,
that was strategic.
sex trafficking, human trafficking, labor trafficking, you name it. The Southern District of New York can do it, and so we're very proud of that. And so the scope and complexity of this investigation isn't something that we ran from. It's something that we embrace, and we will continue to do that. As to your question about whether he imprisoned anyone, all I can say is that, I mentioned this March 2016 incident where something was caught on video, where a victim was attempting to flee, and there was violence that was associated with it.
Yeah, that's kidnapping.
That was at a hotel.
Matthew Lee, Inner City Press.
That'd be kidnapping.
Thanks a lot. Does your office intend to seek remand, or are you reaching a bail package? And if you're willing, how would you contrast this with the R. Kelly case in EDNY in terms of the elements? Thanks.
So we will be seeking detention. We have filed a letter laying out our reasoning for seeking pretrial detention. I'm not going to be able to expand beyond what's in the letter, but it contains all of the reasoning, and it contains the law as well. There is a presumption of detention in a case like this, and we think that's warranted.
They ready to give him a no bail.
John Anise, New York Daily News.
That's what they talking about now. They ready to give him. They trying to give him a no bail.
I was hoping to get some more detail about the searches of his residence, the guns, the cases of lubricant, and the videos. Where were they found amongst his residents? Were they all scattered around the houses in one place? I kind of wanted to just get a better picture of how that stuff was found.
Well, look, I think that some of the details that you're seeking are in the detention letter. So, for instance, some of the AR-15s, 2 of the 3 DeFace AR-15s were found in his bedroom closet in Miami, broken down into parts along with magazines.
I don't think he's ready to snitch on nobody.
So
they ready to make
some of
people
detail
snitch
is in
on
the
him.
detention letter. Beyond that, I'm not going to be able to get into where other items were stored.
Ben Kochman, Post. Hey, thanks for doing this. Your office was the office that had been prosecuting Jeffrey Epstein before he died in custody. I have not read your detention memo yet. It's the first thing I'm going to do after this ends. But does the memo address, or is your office concerned with Combs' safety in custody, given what happened with Epstein?
They already
we are
did.
concerned with anyone's safety whenever they are detained prior to trial. It's part of our obligations to keep people safe as well. It's part of the criminal justice system. So, but I do not draw any sort of connection between Jeffrey Epstein's suicide and what may or may not happen to any other defendant while they are detained pre-trial. And of course, the decision whether to detain the defendant will be up to a judge. Our position is that pretrial detention is warranted under the law and based on the facts of this case. And I'll leave it at that.
Are some of the prosecutors on this case some of the same prosecutors that had been handling that, or that worked on the Maxwell case?
So I'm not going to get into the staffing. I will say that this team, this group of AUSAs, this incredible group has been working on this case around the clock, and they've had their hands full.
Assistant U.S. Attorney.
Gus Rosendale, NBC News. Good morning, sir. Combs' attorney said that his client has been cooperative with investigators. He said that this morning. I was wondering if you would have a reaction to that.
Let me just say this. I think that generally, with increasing frequency, the word cooperative or cooperating has taken on tremendous elasticity and no longer really bears any relation to what the word means when we use it in a very specific context. So responding to lawful process and the like does not qualify as cooperation when we use that term here.
Mike Sisak, AP.
Thanks. To that end, was there any discussion of Mr. Combs surrendering? I understand he was taken into custody at a hotel in Manhattan last night, and maybe that wasn't the plan. Can you elaborate on how that came about and why that was?
I'm not going to be able to get into any sort of operational details as to how he was taken into custody and when. He is in custody right now. He will be appearing in court later today.
Was there any discussion of him surrendering?
So he's going to be in court later today, y'all.
I'm not going to be able to get into law enforcement tactics or operations. Well, I can't get into the charging decision. It is very meaningful to us that weapons were possessed, as we allege in the indictment. Part of the reason why this conduct was so pervasive and harmful was because victims and others didn't necessarily feel comfortable denying him his wishes, as we allege, because of the presence
the gun's not legal. The serial number scratched off.
I should leave it there.
Nice. Last question, Jacob Jamieson.
You don't scratch serial number off legal firearms.
Jacob Jamieson, Business Insider. Thank you. Given that he's the sole defendant in this case and that you allege he's part of a conspiracy that involves members of his companies, do you anticipate a superseding indictment that bring allegations against other members of his companies or other co-conspirators as well?
I can't take anything off the table. Anything is possible. Our investigation is very active and ongoing. And I think a lot of you who cover this office know that when we say such things, that developments are certainly foreseeable, but I cannot predict them sitting here today. All right, thank you, everyone.
Yo, what it sound like? Is they trying to... I don't think they're trying to lock nobody else up. They're going to give people an opportunity that dealt with Diddy to tell on them. That's what it sounds like they're going to do right here, y'all. That's why they said, man, the people know. if you know anything about what's going on, come and tell us. I think that's what they're doing, yo. They're going to use the people that Diddy was doing that shit with to put Diddy in fucking prison. Or if not, they coming to get him. And I think a lot of them niggas, a lot of them people is going to tell. A lot of them people going to tell. Like, that's what it seemed like to me. It don't look like, it's like, what it look like is they giving people a chance. I'm going to give you a chance to do the right thing. We know you was involved. We got the tapes. We know you was involved. Now you can come down here and you can tell us your involvement and, you know, and basically put the nail in his coffin. Or you can not say nothing. We just going to come and get you. Then you're going to get tied into all this shit. And I think a lot of them people going to tell. Man, no, yo, that's not what they said. Diddy ain't, they don't want to hear from Diddy. They want to hear from the other people involved. They don't want to hear nothing from Diddy. They want the other people involved to come down here and give us what you know. That's what they said. Let's see if I can. I should have looked at the time. See if I can go back to it. Look. Try to go back to it.
The indictment alleges that he maintained.
Kraken Client Support is here to answer all your questions. We all need a little help sometimes.
Can Stonyfield organic yogurt with high quality ingredients?
Yeah, man, they want the people involved to tell on Diddy. That's what it sounds like.
By monitoring their whereabouts and even by dictating their. In late 2023, after public allegation, this is a drum magazine. And finally, I want to thank the outstanding career prosecutors from SCNY who are handling this case. Meredith Foster, Emily Johnson, Chrissy Slavic, Madison Smeisler, and Mitzi Steiner, and their supervisors, Jamie Backleiter.
Man, they did. FBI phone lines probably ringing out the hook.
They are members of the Civil Rights Unit in our criminal division. We created the Civil Rights Unit when I became U.S. Attorney. I'm deeply proud of their work on this and so many other cases. I'll now take some questions.
Eric Tursky, ABC.
Damian, thanks. The indictment describes aggressive, open, violent, hedonistic abuse that you say was recurrent and widely known. Why did it take law enforcement so long to intervene? How many women were victimized?
Yeah, he learned the game from Clyde D.
How many others were involved?
Look, our investigation is ongoing.
That's what they say anyway.
We are committed to bringing justice to everyone who's been victimized.
He learned it from somebody.
The defendant. I can't tell you why it took so long. I think the better focus is on the fact that we are here today. And we are committed to making sure that justice is done. Next question.
Julia Ainsley, NBC.
Thank you for doing this. You said we are not done and that Combs did not do this alone.
Listen to how he answered
Do you foresee that there could be other charges related to this case?
I'm not taking anything off the table.
No, that's not it.
Janet Fisher, Newsday.
Must be this question.
What's the difference between the sex trafficking and promoting travel for the purpose of prostitution?
Well, there are different crimes with different elements. I don't think we should get into the nitty-gritty of the legal discussion right now, but the sex trafficking, we believe, they're all serious offenses, but the sex trafficking conduct carries some significant penalties, and we are gratified that we were able to bring that charge.
One more coercive than the other?
I'm not going to be able to get into that, but you can look it up, and yes, sex trafficking, especially when it involves coercion or force, is a very serious crime, and it carries significant penalties.
Good afternoon, Darla Miles, ABC 7 New York. Thank you for this press conference and for the details. Two questions. In context of this indictment and the information that was presented to the grand jury, are you able to clarify the number of victims? It's mentioned plural in the indictment, but can you specify the number of victims just for this particular indictment? And secondly, can you provide details about the alleged arson?
Unfortunately, I'm not able to provide either. The number of victims, you are correct. We are intentional in saying multiple. The details of the arson incident are limited to what we have in the indictment and also the detention letter that we filed.
That's what I was ready to say, man. He used more details. He used his influence and power, to manipulate women to doing what he wanted them to do. It's about the same thing. It's about the same thing. You know, power and influence, yo. People bend and fold to that. I mean, and when you force that on somebody, that's a crime, yo. It's a crime.
The indictment does at various points, but we don't have anything more beyond that.
Especially when they're in control of your career and your livelihood and your life. That's a crime, bro.
Any of his accomplices or associates under investigation? And additionally, could he face any more charges?
So the investigation is ongoing.
All right, listen to him.
Both as to him and to anyone else who we believe
listen what they say.
Crime with him. Next question.
Juliet Papa.
Must be the
Hi,
next.
good morning from 1010 Wins. Any indication that some of the women or victims here were imprisoned in his residences, and did he have locations where he kept them?
Yo, the United States government is seeking a no bail, but it's up to the judge. They're seeking a no bail, but they don't know what the judge is going to do. But they definitely not offering them bail. They said they're seeking detention.
And also, he's indicted here, although there were searches and raids in LA, Miami. Why in New York?
Well, I'm biased. I'm the U.S. Attorney.
Because this is just an overview, V. They're not gonna get. They're not gonna, show their whole deck of cards.
Impactful, sprawling, complex, difficult, sex trafficking, human trafficking, labor trafficking, you name it. The Southern District of New York can do it, and so we're very proud of that. And so the scope and complexity of this investigation isn't something that we ran from. It's something that we embrace, and we will continue to do that. As to your question about whether he imprisoned anyone, all I can say is that, I mentioned this March 2016 incident where something was caught on video where a victim was attempting to flee, and there was violence that was associated with it. That was at a hotel.
Matthew Lee, Inner City Press.
Thanks a lot. Does your office intend to seek remand, or are you reaching a bail package? And if you're willing, how would you contrast this with the R. Kelly case in EDNY in terms of the elements?
That's what I was looking for.
So we will be seeking detention. We have filed a letter laying out our reasoning for seeking pretrial detention. I'm not going to be able to expand beyond what's in the letter, but it contains all of the reasoning, and it contains the law as well. There is a presumption of detention in a case like this, and we think that's warranted.
John Anise, New York Daily News.
Thank you. I was hoping to get some more detail about the searches of his residence, the guns, the cases of lubricant, and the videos. Where were they found amongst his
this how he
place. I kind of wanted to just get a better picture of
how he responded
to this stuff was found.
Well, look, I think that some of the details that you're seeking are in the detention letter. So, for instance, some of the AR-15s, 2 of the 3 defaced AR-15s were found in his bedroom closet in Miami, broken down into parts along with magazines with ammunition loaded in them. So some of that detail is
88 to 12%.
Beyond that, I'm not
yes, you're going to tell 12% say no.
Items were stored.
Ben Kochman, Post.
Hey, thanks for doing this. Your office was the office that had been prosecuting Jeffrey Epstein before he died in custody. I have not read your detention memo yet. It's the first thing I'm going to do after this ends. But does the memo address, or is your office concerned with?
I think everybody gonna tell on him, bro.
With Combs' safety in custody, given what happened with Epstein.
So we are concerned with anyone's safety whenever they are detained prior to trial. It's part of our obligations to keep people safe as well. It's part of the criminal justice system. So, but I do not draw any sort of connection between Jeffrey Epstein's suicide and what may or may not happen to any other defendant while they are detained pre-trial. And of course, the decision whether to detain the defendant will be up to a judge. Our position is that pretrial detention is warranted under the law and based on the facts of this case. And I'll leave it at that.
Are some of the prosecutors on this case some of the same prosecutors that had been handling that, or that worked on the Maxwell case?
I think I need to go back.
I'm not going to get into the staffing. I will say that this team, this group of AUSAs, this incredible group has been working on this case around the clock, and they've had their hands full. Next question.
Gus Rosendale, NBC News.
Good morning, sir. Combs' attorney said that his client has been cooperative with investigators. He said that this morning. I was wondering if you would have a reaction to that.
Let me just say this. I think that generally with increasing frequency, the word cooperative or cooperating has taken on tremendous elasticity, and it no longer really bears any relation to what the word means when we use it in a very specific context. So responding to lawful process and the like does not qualify as cooperation when we use that term here.
Mike Sizak, AP.
Thanks. To that end, was there any discussion of Mr. Combs surrendering? I understand he was taken into custody at a hotel in Manhattan last night, and maybe that wasn't the plan. Can you elaborate on how that came about and why that was?
I'm not going to be able to get into any sort of operational details as to how he was taken into custody and when. He is in custody right now. He will be appearing in court later today.
Was there any discussion of him surrendering, given they claim he's cooperating?
I'm not going to be able to get into law enforcement tactics or operations. Well, I can't get into the charging decision. It is very meaningful to us that weapons were possessed, as we allege in the indictment. Part of the reason why this conduct was so pervasive and harmful was because victims and others didn't necessarily feel comfortable denying him his wishes, as we allege, because of the presence of firearms. I should leave it there.
Thanks. Last question, Jacob Shamsian.
That's not the one, y'all. I gotta go back.
Jacob Shamsian, Business Insider. Thank you. Given that he's the sole defendant in this case and that you allege he's part of a conspiracy that involves members of his companies, do you anticipate a superseding indictment that bring allegations against other members of his companies or other co-conspirators as well?
I can't take anything off the table. Anything is possible. Our investigation is very active and ongoing. And I think a lot of you who cover this office know that when we say such things, that developments are certainly foreseeable, but I cannot predict them sitting here today. All right, thank you, everyone.
Hey, y'all, where the fuck was it at? Trying to find a part where he said basically that if you was involved, get with us. That's what I got from it.
He and others pressured witnesses and victims to stay silent, including by making phone calls to witnesses and victims and giving them a false narrative of what they had experienced. And as alleged, Combs used others to help conceal his abuse by monitoring and preventing victims from leaving a location in order to hide their injuries, or by locating and contacting a victim who had attempted to flee. As part of this investigation, in March of this year, special agents from HSI executed search warrants at Combs' residences in Miami and places. I'll now take some questions. No matter how powerful or wealthy or famous you may be,
there you go.
No one should doubt our commitment on that.
I think.
We defaced. Be here without them. I also want to thank the dedicated case agents on the HSI Trafficking in Persons.
Violent, hedonistic abuse that you say was recurrent and widely known. Why did it take law enforcement?
And Jacqueline Kelly.
I can't find it, y'all.
Of the Civil Rights Unit in our criminal division.
I'm trying to find basically.
You're not done. This investigation is ongoing, and I encourage anyone with information about this case to come forward and to do it quickly.
You hear that? He said, we're not done. And I encourage anybody with some information about this case to come forward and do it quickly. Basically, what he said is, we know who you is. Now, you going to come to us and tell us what you know, or we're going to come and get you. That's what I got from it. I don't think they try to lock nobody else up. I think this is about Diddy. And if them people is willing to cooperate, I think they'll give him a pass. If them people willing to cooperate, they give him a pass. They ain't trying to get nobody else. They trying to get the dealer, man. The dealer been doing this shit for so many years. This shit then got personal. You know, y'all, they've been trying to get Diddy for decades, man. Decades. They've been trying to get Diddy. Let me pull up. Matter of fact, before I go, let me pull up what what's the com said. Hold on. What the fuck shorty name was? Jimmy Henchman. That like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Want to support the platform? Cash at Baltimore Swag, man. Jimmy Henchman Diddy. Not Daddy. Jimmy Henchman got locked up years ago. He said he was questioning him about Diddy back then. That shit probably in the article. Man, y'all can look it up. Jimmy Henchman said when he got locked up, they questioned him about Diddy and underage boys. That's what he said, man. That was his exact words. He's like, man, I don't know nothing about none of that shit, man. I don't know, they probably give him a bail, but the government said they seeking pretrial detention, which means they seeking no bail status. I don't know, man. He's too powerful, yo. Normally, yo, when people got this type of money, they don't give him a bail, you know, because he's too powerful. They're flight risk. Got too much money. Now, I don't know if his lawyer can design some type of package, you know, to make the government feel, you know, feel comfortable with letting them go, but we'll see. They say he's going to be in court later on today, so more than likely, we're going to go live. Whenever that court hearing start, that should probably start around 4. Hopefully. Yeah, I know we're going live by 11 o'clock tonight. I should have the whole indictment. Gotta reach out to my paperwork lady. I should have the whole indictment. And we can go over that shit. Line for line. But they said some more paperwork supposed to be coming out. It says some more paperwork supposed to be coming out. It might be already out, for real. But I'm ready to go to Charlene. Over Tupac likely. What do you think about? What you mean? What Revolt did? I thought he got rid of Revolt. He don't own Revolt no more. No. The document is unsealed. The document unsealed. I mean, the indictment unsealed. Oh yeah, probably. Yo, cause he need liquid cash. Yo, if y'all can remember when I first started talking about this, I said, yo, nobody gonna start selling stuff. That's when they gonna come down on him. Cause that mean he going broke. He lose not broke, but he ain't got the money he had. He need cash, man. He getting rid of his house. He's selling his house in California. That's 61 million. I don't know what he got for Revolt. Like he need cash. He gonna need money. If he got enough money, he probably beat the case. You know, it's all about money, y'all. Look at what happened with NBA Youngboy. NBA Youngboy just paid $270,000, $75,000, and he got to do 2 years in prison. And he got caught with 4 handguns. 2 years in prison. Paid. If Diddy can come up with probably. If Diddy can come up with probably 100 mil cash, he fuck around beat this shit. But that's gonna be outside of his legal fees. You understand? He gotta have 100 mil cash to get them people. On top of because they taking his assets. If y'all listen to how they formulated the indictment, they made it seem like everything he done was tied to his music and his business. And I think they did that so they can forfeit profits or forfeit items that he brought, you know, with legal money. That's how they try and do it. That's what it sounds like to me. Oh no. I don't know, bro. I don't think so, cuz. I don't think it was about revolt. I think they just came down on him, man, because he tried to he went against that liquor company. I think he went against that liquor company. I don't know, Tehran. It's about money, yo. They want money. Like he gonna have to. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if he got the money. If Diddy probably can get him, if Diddy can get him 100 mil, and that's not considering everything that they gonna take from him, like $100 million cash, they might let him off. What the fuck are you talking about? Dizzy wasn't trying to let it go. He had to. That's what I'm saying. He needed cash. See, he needed liquid cash. He need cash to fight. He's selling his mansion too. He probably selling everything. Everything must go right now. It's a fucking clearance sale. Everything must go. He need cash, man. He need cash, man. I don't know how. No, I don't think it is. He just got sued for 100 mil. Like, he got 10 lawsuits. Y'all gotta realize, yo, he got 10 lawsuits on the table. He only settled one. Say he got 9 lawsuits on the table. The feds is trying to come after his assets. They're trying to come after his assets because they tying Bad Boy to the criminal organization. I ain't saying he innocent. I'm saying this shit is about money. I ain't saying he innocent. I'm saying that they'd take some money. Better believe it. They would take some money. If he can pay some money, they'd take that shit. You know what I mean? And he'd make out. Yeah, I'm from Baltimore. But shit, y'all. Man, I think it might not have been. I think it was the case, yo. He's selling everything, bro. Everything must go. It's a clearance sale right now, yo. Everything must go, man. That man ain't ready to have shit. Just Diddy ain't got a reason this for me. I don't even know. I don't know that nigga. I wouldn't fuck with Diddy if I had the chance to. I don't deal with dirty people. I don't deal with dirty people. Hey y'all, but I'm ready to go. I got tired. I'm ready to take a nap. I gotta get my kids in a minute. I'll see y'all at 11 o'clock tonight. I should have a video dropping around 4 or 5. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. It's another day of keeping you news, and I'm out.